Welcome to the Pathifist podcast. My name is Andy Bunny, also known as Wendigo Bunny, Andrea. And I am here today with very special guest, Ivana from I Fancy Hugh Dancy. Hi, Ivana.
Hi. Hi.
And we're here to discuss episode 7 of The Path on Hulu, Refugees, which was, to date, I think, the most stressful episode we've had to watch, where just everything happened to poor Cal. He just had the
Yeah.
roughest episode ever. He just had a terrible episode with this one. And we started out with essentially the running theme through the episode. The government is looming over our compound, and we've got the media with their helicopters looming over, and they're talking about how it's similar to Waco, and everybody is concerned that they're going to be what's going to happen to everyone, especially the Honduran refugees. Their fate is in the balance, and there's a great deal of peril coming out with what's going to happen with them. So yeah, it was a very stressful episode. Um, and poor Cal just got thrown under the bus in this episode.
Yes. So yes, we saw the media outside of the gates, and the journalist said that the Maoist movement is an extremist religious sect, and it's very different to what we saw until now. Because obviously, if you see it from the outside, from people who don't know anything about the sect, about the movement, they refer to it as a sect and as extremist,
A cult,
and
right?
yeah, as a cult. But we are used to see them and to know them. We got into their lives, so it's really hard for us to understand everything that's going on.
Hmm.
Also, we can, I think, relate more to the people inside the compound and
Hmm.
inside the movement, because there's also the little girl who says to her mother, she's like, is the future coming? Are they coming for us? What's going to happen?
Right.
So it's almost as if we were frightened for them. It's not like we are the outside world.
Yeah, they've created so much empathy between the audience and the Mayarists in the Honduran. Evelyn and her little girl. We have obviously the little daughter of the Lanes. There, I can't remember her name at the moment, but yeah,
Summer.
Summer. Thank you. And she's asking, "Is the future coming?" And then yeah, the Evelyn's daughter is at the window asking if they're coming for them. So yeah, it's very tense, and we feel the stress that they feel because everything, our life is in jeopardy. And Sarah comes through the gates when she sees everything that's going on, and they're shouting at her, about calling it a cult and calling it, like you said, an extremist sect or an extremist cult. And she's like, it's a movement. It's not, we're trying to help people here. We're not hurting anyone. So yeah, it's a very stressful moment for everyone, and just and then we are brought into the council meeting with Bill and Felicia, who've come in to try to clean up the mess, I guess. And they're talking about we're going to wind up being another Waco. And they're just they're just really mad at Cal, saying that he's basically jeopardized the movement, and he's put them in this position by trying to help the Hondurans. But the hypocrisy of it is that just the previous episode, Eddie and Sarah are driving in the car listening to the radio talk about, the Catholic Church trying to help these people and how organized religion has no backbone. They're all talking no follow through. So, Eddie mentions it to Cal. If you really want to do something, you ought to go check out what's happening up at this church and help these people out. It's all fucked. And so Cal goes and actually does something about it. He actually is a man of action, does it, and now that he's done it, all of a sudden they have a challenge. Now they're just like backpedaling, and just
Yeah, it's as if he had to do this in order to gain respect and to gain Sarah's trust again, because he's obviously very concerned about what she thinks about him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he tries to right his wrong, and then yeah, he ends up in this very awkward position because um, they blame him
Right.
for being disexposed with law and with all the media. And Bill also, in the last speech he does, he claims that they don't want to have this attention with the media because obviously harboring illegal immigrants would bring the cult like to they would have to surrender them, or yeah, the movement would close. I don't know. The police would do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Bill and Felicia, they're not really concerned about the people and about helping them, but they're more concerned about the fact that they have to somehow the cult is their way to get more money. It's their means to get an income, and so they're very careful. They don't want to upset the law.
Right. 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 So yeah, we had Cal in the meeting with the council, and they just everyone kind of turned their back on him. Sarah, Eddie, the Lane's brother-in-law. They're like, we have children, we can't really afford to put ourselves in this position, which was a complete turnaround from what their position previously was. And Sarah, I think Sarah does want to be a leader. I think it she doesn't really I don't think it I think it's kind of looming in her character arc through the series, but it doesn't really start to come to fruition until this episode in particular. I think at the very end of the episode, she finally does speak up for Cal, which she kind of redeems herself a bit from what happens in that meeting. When she doesn't support Cal. And Cal kind of
Mm-hmm.
confronts her because she tells him, well, he comes in and after everyone throws him under the bus and everything, and they basically tell him, you're we think Bill says we think you're the one that's going to have to tell the Hondurans that they can't stay here, right? And which is very cruel. I mean, Bill is just kind of
Mm-hmm.
he's a coward because he doesn't want to tell them himself, and he's just being a dick to Cal. And Cal goes to talk to the refugees and looks at the Meyer eye and realizes your fate is my fate and I'm going to protect you. I'm the leader. And that part isn't true, but it just to me reflects that what are his motivations, and maybe they aren't necessarily self they're not all self-centered. He's a multifaceted character. It's not just about his ambition necessarily. I think he genuinely does care. Genuinely cares about them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We also saw that Cal doesn't care so much about money. Like he said to Mr. Ridge, he says, "All that I want is people's faith." So it's definitely he's definitely like the opposite character.
Hmm.
The opposite than Bill, because Bill um, doesn't want to help as much as he's interested in the money and in the everything that the movement has given him so far. So also the fact that Cal is much younger than him, and maybe he hasn't witnessed like him and like Bill and Felicia have seen like actually Steve climb the ladder,
Right.
and probably Cal hasn't. So they're somehow intimidated by him because he's younger, and
Hmm.
he also um, has this somehow real power, because he can convince people, he can
Hmm.
make people believe.
Hmm.
We've seen that many times
Hmm.
um, with Mary, with on the television interview.
Right.
So he showed that he has some kind of real power,
Hmm.
in contrast with Felicia's maybe burned hands that we talked
We've
about,
yet to find
because
out really what exactly burned her hands or
yeah,
how that happened. Yeah.
mm, because also Silas, who is another big, like 10R, claims that
Hmm.
Cal is a fraud, while we probably think that Felicia and Bill and Silas, probably they are frauds, because they don't
Hmm.
have anything as concrete as Cal has.
Well, yeah, we don't necessarily we don't know well, we only know what they've told us as far as what exactly happened with Steve and with the latter. Personally, I believe. I mean, we don't really know exactly what happened. Personally, I think that Cal is the whole package as far as being able to relate to people and convince people of things and get people on his side. Um, I think that he does have a very large degree of spiritual belief. He is able to have that kind of influence over people. He also genuinely has that spirituality in him. I don't think it's all just a manipulation the way it is with some cult leaders. I think it's genuine. It's
Hmm.
coming from a real place within him. So uh, with Bill and Felicia, I think maybe at one time, you know, there was something there with them, but I think it's become a very materialistic thing for them now. As far as
Hmm.
Silas is concerned, I am very mistrustful of him, and I have been for a long time. Uh, Silas, something's not right with him, and I just don't. I don't trust him at all. I guess if we wanted to talk about Silas, we could. I feel like there's a lot of darkness in Silas, and I believe that he may have killed Jason. He might have been the one to do that because Steve wouldn't accept his mortality. And I think that, because when he snuck onto the campus, he says, Bill and Felicia want me here less than you do. Um, everything that he says to Cal is just coming from a place of darkness and lies. I mean, telling him that he's a fraud, that he's I see you, Calvin, you're a fraud. You're nothing but an alcoholic salesman, just like your father. It was a very emotionally provoking thing to do. And yeah, why did he sneak in, and why did he need to avoid everyone when he went in there? It's just it was a very strange scenario.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't still find the motive as to why he would go there and say these things.
right,
Also knowing that Cal is very he has control issues. He doesn't respond good to being provoked.
right, exactly.
So he has this. Somehow also Sarah and Eddie, we saw that they have this really like peaceful appearance of them, but
Right,
then they have this this aggressiveness inside.
right.
So yeah, he's very. We saw Cal also with Mary's father. We
Mhm,
saw what happened. We
mhm.
saw him with Miranda Frank, with the Regis guy, with his mom. So he has this moment when he freaks out, and that's what happened with Silas
Right.
when he heard these words. Yeah,
So
and
one of
he
the things
was.
that we were speculating, which I thought of, which would make really quite the storyline, and this is purely speculation on my part, but what if Steve in Peru, what if there's a real miracle? And what if Steve is awake enough, regains consciousness enough, or somehow communicates with Silas enough to tell him, hey dude, I'm dying, and Cal is the chosen one. I want Cal to take over the movement. Well, Silas and Bill and Felicia all clearly hate the hell out of Cal. Don't want him to be leading the movement. He's a pretentious little fuck that's too big for his britches, right? That would just make them so mad, right? And they wouldn't want that to happen, right? So Silas goes either with or without Bill and Felicia's knowledge, goes to the compound to provoke Cal into perhaps getting into such a spiraling depression that he kills himself. Maybe that's what happened to Jason. Or maybe provoke him into a situation where he has to self-defense murder Cal. Something to
Yeah.
get rid of him.
Yeah, it would make a great plot twist.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a huge theory, but what scares me is that everything I've predicted about this show so far has come true.
Yeah, that's true.
All my theories that I've had, which is really just like too much responsibility. It's like okay, brain, and I do nothing all day but think about this show. Just
That's a great way to spend your time.
I know. It's like
No, but
Andrea,
I
come
think
on, man.
I'm I am still I still think that it would make a great season finale to have like Steve wake up, like bang, the machine's working all of a sudden, and he's like opening his eyes like Jon Snow way, like
That
bang,
would be
and it
incredible.
ends.
And then just go screen black.
Yeah, because we got renewed for season 2, so yeah, it would
That
be
would be
great to see what would
pretty
happen.
awesome. That would be a really great last scene is just to have Steve open his eyes and then the screen goes to black.
But also the fact that I was thinking if it would end like this, it would be amazing because we know that Cal worships Steve, and we
Yeah.
know that he's like his almost father-like figure. He
Hmm.
has been raised by Steve.
Right.
But at the same time, we saw that in the last episodes, Cal was like when Silas talked about him about the fact that Steve had told him that he was a fraud and that he was not to be trusted.
Hmm.
He says like Silas is dead, like he's half dead. So we see that maybe he wouldn't want him to wake up
Hmm.
somehow. Maybe also when they're praying around his bed,
Right.
everyone's like, "Let's pray," and he's like, wouldn't it be better to look for a solution like if he dies?"
Hmm.
So he's very attached to Silas, but at the same time, I
To
think
Steve, yeah.
he wants to move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that Cal loves Steve and he's been a very important facet of his life and he does worship him. But you're right. I think that there's definitely that dark element to Cal where he does want to be the leader. Clearly, he does want to be the leader of the movement, and it's because this has been everything that he's known. He's had a taste of this leadership role, and it's so, I think he loves feeling that adoration and feeling that the people, de- not only depending on him, but looking to him for guidance and leadership and um, it makes him feel needed, wanted, useful, and it's the opposite flip side of that alcoholic salesman. I mean, it's everything that that his past wants him to be that's dragging him to that bad side of his genetic past, what have you. It's the complete opposite of that. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, we were talking yesterday about Cal, how his character, normally in works of fiction and movies, characters have an arc, a redemption arc, or a descending arc, you know. But Cal doesn't have that. He just is kind of going in a circle where, like you were saying, he will do the right thing, he will do something awesome, and then he will immediately do something horrible to just completely go right off the rails again. And so he keeps doing this over and over in a pattern, which is a lot more realistic, I think, of what, like, reflective of what we do as people.
Yeah, yeah.
Human beings
It's
tend
much
to
more,
not have arcs, you know?
it's much more relatable to every one of us.
Right.
to have the ups and downs, and I think they're doing a great job with this. And also, Hidansi is mind blowing. He's giving one of the best performances, I think, so far, and I can say that because I've seen, like you probably, and like
Yeah.
every other great fan of
Yeah.
him. We've seen all his filmography, and yeah, he's. I think he's enjoying the fact that he can play such a multi-dimensional character.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's doing really great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's able to really, I think, access the whole range of his abilities with this role because he has explosive moments of anger with his mom, with Mr. Ridge. He's got moments where he's totally self-possessed and in control when he goes into the Ridge's house and he takes Freddie. He's got moments where he's pontificating, in church doing his sermons. He's got moments of great vulnerability when he's in his mom's house. He first gets there and he's just, the minute he sees her, he's completely disarmed. He's got moments with Silas where Silas is just berating him, telling him he's an alcoholic salesman, and the movement is over. And his face, he just seems to transform into a 5-year-old boy. That's just, the look on his face is so heartbreaking and sad and vulnerable. It's he physically transforms, and it's something that we did see, I think, in Hannibal. We've seen him before do that when he would do his whoosh whoosh, and he would get into the mindset of the criminal, the empathy. But this show, I think, really has showcased his transformation abilities. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And it's also the fact that we cannot probably we couldn't say that he's a bad person or that he's a good person because he has so many different aspects in his
Hmm.
personality because he does good and he does bad, and so yeah, it's really interesting that I still haven't figured out what I think about the character. So
Right.
of course it's Hugh Dancy. He's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But beside
Yeah.
that, I still haven't made up my mind if I like him or if
Right.
I should probably not trust him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm kind of I have definitely been sucked in. I'm definitely a calpologist, and like with the deal with Silas, when that happened, I would have killed the guy myself. I mean, I was so angry in that moment at him, and I felt like the murder was justified. And um, I mean, instantly, I was trying to think of ways to try to help Cal out with that whole situation, and he just went into shock. But
Yeah.
because I think that he immediately regretted it, as happens when poor Cal with his impulse control issues, he does something bad and he instantly regrets it. And yeah, he didn't even know what to do. And again, that's kind of one of those, like I think I was saying yesterday offline to you guys, when something is triggered in someone psychologically. I think with what Silas was telling him, all of these negative things, something clicked in Cal, I think, that triggered a very childlike response in him, um, which triggered the violence. I don't think that in that moment he even knew that he was holding that vase and didn't intend to kill him, because immediately he started trying to apply pressure to the wound, you know, to try to save him. And I think that he may have immediately just regressed into a childlike state, and um, he just didn't know what to do. I mean, he landed on the floor, and he was so upset. He's just like rubbing the blood into his head and his face, and he's
Which
trying
is
to clean up
great.
the blood.
We
It's
love
like,
that. Yeah.
there's nothing. You can't clean that kind of thing up. That's not
Yeah.
gonna work. And he, even at the end, he throws a blanket over the body. It's like, that's something a child would do. It doesn't, he's
Yeah.
just completely in shock and denial, and my heart went out to him for that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely, it wasn't something good to do, but Silas had it coming. So yeah, I'm sorry, but also the fact that he was really fashionable with those slippers. I told you guys.
Yes, the socks and
I hate that.
sandals.
Yeah. He had those horrible, sandals with those socks on, and when I saw it, I was like, okay,
It
somebody's
was,
gotta kill you. So yeah,
yeah,
it turned out great.
that's
And
awesome.
yeah,
You were
the
talking
the thing
about
that
the Germans yesterday.
yeah, I have an experience with them because I live near the border with Austria. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm used to those Germans with the socks and the sandals, and it's like freaked me out when I saw that on the show. I was like, what?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
yeah,
think,
definitely.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
no. What I didn't expect to happen after Cal went like in his shock and he went into the shower was definitely for Sarah to stand up for him.
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, she was like it was the first episode where in which I said, okay, she's doing finally she's good, like something not really I wouldn't say crazy, but she's she's grown up in the movement, so she has a really like um, narrow mind.
Hmm.
So finally, she stepped up for someone and
Hmm.
for something, and yeah, I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, I I love Sarah. She sometimes makes it really difficult to like her or to find sympathy for me anyway with her just because of her anger and her lack of ability to have boundaries with people. However, she really did redeem herself to in my eyes with this episode finally when she stood up for Cal. Um, and yeah, she stands up after Bill is done. I mean, I think her intention was to stand up for him and also trying to buy time for Cal because he didn't show up. But yeah, she says, we're all here because someone took a risk on us. And then she starts talking about uh, how so many years ago, Steve took in this kid who was so full of anger and rage and hate that he would have killed anyone. And because he took a chance on this kid, she met the love of her life and has her beautiful children and her marriage. And while she was talking about this, they were intercutting with Cal in the shower, trying to get the blood off of him. And I think I think Jenny mentioned before when I was talking to her that they were trying to, it almost looked like they were trying to imply this angry person that they were talking about was Cal, but actually they were definitely talking about Eddie because that's her husband. And
Hmm.
it made us wonder, we don't know really everything about Eddie yet, which I'm hoping in our next episode, we're in episode 8, we're gonna get to explore more about Eddie's past as we join him on his walk, on Steve's walk, because what do we know about Eddie? His brother, he found him hanging in the kitchen. Did he commit suicide? Was it a Myris thing? We don't know yet. But
Hmm.
clearly that would be it's easy to see that he would be a troubled youth after that. But he had that situation where he was talking to Allison, and he's like, "You don't know where I come from. I'm gonna kill you." And he tells Sarah, um, "Is that why you chose me or married me? Because I'm a bad boy or whatever." I don't know how exactly it was said, but clearly there's something in Eddie's past that's sketchy that has not yet been revealed yet. You know, but yeah.
Yeah, we are very curious to figure out what's going to happen. Also, because Hawk is joining him.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hawk, whom we mentioned as the true Mayerist, as the only true believer in this movement, because he actually didn't. He did something against the movement. Also being with what's her name, Ashley,
Ashley, yeah.
an IS girl. Yes, so he did something wrong, and then he admitted it, and he wanted to do the walk in order to like purify himself again to make things better.
Yeah,
And we saw that he showed to be much more mature than his father, because Eddie, like since episode one, he had doubts, and even
yeah,
before in the plot of the story. So and he still like snuck around, and he didn't
yeah,
tell the truth, which we know is finally out because Cal knows
right.
that. Yeah, that scene was incredible when when he
Yeah,
tried to speak out with Allison, and then
yeah,
Cal went in, and he was like, "Oh,
yeah.
yeah."
Yeah, I think Hawk is a true example of a real Meyerist because like we've been saying, I mean he is continually trying to do the right thing even though he has been plagued with doubts like his father. He is continually soul searching and he's trying to do the right thing and redeem himself continuously and you know, it was a little bit unfair and sad what happened with Ashley in this episode. You know, her mom kind of freaked out about the cult issue and decided that they needed to leave right away. And Ashley didn't even say goodbye to him, didn't explain why. And it was kind of sad because it was the exact same thing that she was yelling at Hawk about, which is your parents don't want you to see me. Um, and she had been telling him, you know, don't let people tell you how to feel or what to do. And
Hmm.
her mom tells her not to see him because they're freaky cults. And she's like, immediately, I can't see you because I have to take care of my family or my mom or whatever. So it was a little bit hypocritical of her in that respect. And of course, it devastated Hawk, which was really sad. So
Yeah.
that,
But it probably the whole storyline with Ashley was probably meant to define his character more, not really to be so specific. Because I honestly don't think that we were going to be seeing much of her anymore.
mhm,
So probably she was needed to show that uh, another Myrist is also having doubts, as
mhm,
Eddie is. And yeah, it's showing that there is a different reaction to the one that Eddie has had. So it
uh-huh.
was probably made to define his character more.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing how I'm very interested in seeing what happens on what with Hawk with his dad, and I've been loving the scenes with Hawk and Eddie, and it'll be good to see them together and seeing their how they interact more and I think Aaron Paul's strongest moments on this show have been his scenes with Kyle Allen, who's been just an incredible actor. I think he's done such a good
Yeah,
job. So
yeah.
yeah, that'll be really
He danced
interesting to
his
see.
he danced his secret son also.
Yes.
We forgot to mention.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
very or the reincarnation of Heath Ledger too, because boy,
Heath
he really
Ledger.
looks like him to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sarah, yeah, she had quite the character development in this episode. She started out being kind of timid and going with what everyone else went with as far as kind of ganging up on Cal. And then she kind of had a change of heart. She was worried about the Evelyn and her kids and expressed that to Eddie when she was having that private conversation with him and asking him, why were you late?
Yeah.
But and then she confronted Cal when Cal decided he wanted to have the vote with the 1Rs and the younger people to decide the fate of what would happen, you know, with the Hondurans. And she's like, "How could you not include me in this? How could you not tell me?" And she says, "We're still stuck in the 1950s in this organization with not including the women in the decisions and so forth." And Cal basically told her, "No, you know, if you aren't involved in the decisions and you're not a leader, it's on you. You're not stepping up." Which
Hmm.
I guess it could be said that that is incorrect because when she has attempted to make decisions on her own, he has shot her down or not acknowledged
Hmm.
her authority.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like what we discussed yesterday, somehow Cal says to Bill as they ask him why he still hasn't sent away like the immigrants.
Right.
Cal says that the organization once was supposed to be like a circle and it's not supposed to be a pyramid. But at the same time, he doesn't accept the fact that maybe Sarah would take the responsibility she took in the last
With Freddie Ridge and
episode.
his mom,
Yeah,
right?
with Freddie Ridge. Yeah, so it's really interesting, as you've said once in a previous podcast, that probably the next generation of the Maris movement would see Cal taking Steve's position, while Sarah and Eddie would take Bill and
Bill and
Felicia's.
Felicia's, right.
So yeah, so Sarah could and should be, I think, involved in the decision making of the movement. Also because, like we are reminded very often, she's one of the lanes. So she's almost like somebody says, you're like a Kennedy. You're like
Yeah,
one of the
Miranda
most
said that you
important.
guys are like the
Yeah,
Kennedys. You can do no wrong.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and also when Meg, who is Ashley's mom,
Yeah.
once comes to the dentist office, they're like, "Yeah, of course you're hired. Like Sarah Lane
Sarah sent you.
sent
Yeah.
you."
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but she has been, I think, too supportive of Cal in many moments, and then they have had some difficulties. They had some clashes. So I think what will happen, I'm really curious to see what will happen in the next episode between them, because at the end we see Sarah calling Cal and asking him for an explanation as to why her husband was sent like in the middle of the winter to that walk.
I think that I think Cal has one view of Sarah, and I think Sarah has two views that are in conflict with each other of Cal. I think Cal sees Sarah, like I've said before, as a nurturing motherly type figure that he would, I think, like to see as the Felicia of the movement in a supportive role of him. So that's why I think he wants her to be. I think he does want her to be a leadership type person, but within the authority, the boundaries of the authority that he's given her. In other words, she's an 8R and he's a 10R, and he wants her to not go over his head, basically. So, yes, you make decisions, and yes, but you follow the instructions that I give you at the same time. So, as a subordinate. And I think her views on him are she clearly has a crush on him still and feelings for him romantically of some sort. And two, I think that she might have some ambitions in the movement to be a leader. And there's several examples I've seen through the season where she is looking at him a little bit like competition, where when he comes to her the first time in her office to tell her, I've just come back from Peru and Steve told me that I am to be the new leader. And she looked at him kind of like, it was always you, it's always been you, with this wonder in her eyes. I got a little bit of a feeling of, well, isn't that interesting, Cal? I don't know. I just got a little bit of a funny feeling about that. And then there was another meeting she had with her dad and Cal where she said, he's like, you know me, Sarah. And she's like, yes, I do know you, where they were talking about his ambition. So I feel like she could potentially feel like, hey, maybe I could run this place. And maybe that's going to be a source of conflict between them. She's also struggling with the fact that I think hot. Hot, Cal, hot.
Yeah, definitely. We see many scenes in which he's like, when in that scene at the chapel when they went to
Yes.
pray together.
Let me pray
She's
with
just
you.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
over him, and I'm
Bless.
just like, okay. And also when Mary appears to be like struck, like love struck
Oh
by
yeah, I
Cal,
know.
she's
And
like
yeah.
looking at her. She's like, okay, go.
Slow your
Yeah,
roll,
like
girl. Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely fascinating. But I think she would have more claims somehow. She would have more rights to be the new leader because she grew up in the movement. She has her parents in the movement. Like she
Yeah.
she was born into it, while Cal had a troubled history. He came in as a child, and
Hmm.
also afterwards he was an alcoholic. He has like a difficult past, while she was always there. So
You're
yeah,
right. She might have more of a claim to it, but it would be interesting to see is how much of a patriarchy is Maorism.
yeah,
Maybe would they be accepting of a female leader? That would be very interesting. I think that they might because she is very good with the people there. Everybody loves her. And where she has a lot of shortcomings with her own family, she's very good with the people. I mean,
yeah.
she's very nurturing. She has a great presence with them. They listen to her. Yeah, she's great with them. So, um, it might be something we'll see in season two. What I would love to. That would be great to explore. Um,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. Yeah. Uh, what we also talked about was the fact that Eddie kind of, I think, doesn't see much else than
Oh
his
yeah.
wife and Cal together. He's like, he doesn't, he has had this lack of faith after the vision he's had in Peru, and
Hmm.
after that he started questioning everything. And I think that probably Sarah and Eddie have had a great marriage and a great time as a couple, and they were very passionate. We saw that. We were reminded of that constantly in the first episode, like,
Yeah.
okay, take
Yeah.
a break. But yeah, and now he sees like Cal's back, and he sees him as a potential like rival. So
Right.
yeah, it's really funny to see how Eddie cannot think of anything else than his wife and his friend being together. Well, I don't think that will be the case. Seeing
No,
also
right.
that.
I don't think that it's indicative of how Cal is actually feeling about. I think they're having obviously two totally different experiences. Yeah. So we had Eddie, we saw Eddie bringing food into Allison over at his father-in-law's cabin, which I kind of felt like there might have been a scene missing because it seemed so abrupt that they had gone from that the confrontation, you can't fake faith or you can't, fake belief, and then
Get away from my family, bang.
right, and then now he's putting her up at his father-in-law's cabin and he's bringing her salami and bananas.
While
Which
she's
what?
showering naked with a towel,
Yeah,
and there's the whole
and she's
scene.
coming out of the shower all like half naked and wet, and it's like, wait, what? Record
So
scratch.
unnecessary. Yeah.
So yeah, I felt like there might have been a scene missing. I don't know, but yeah, it's kind of funny. He's bringing her groceries and putting her up there, but it's like what happened there that he had such a change of heart that now he's helping her again. I don't know, but
He has so many. I think he's thinking. He's starting to think more and more often that they're bad people in the movement after she mentioned her husband to him after he found out that he died, and maybe also doubting. I still think that he somehow doubts the fact that his brother committed suicide. So maybe he related to that. He was like, okay, she has also suffered like a great loss,
lost, yeah.
and maybe yeah, maybe she's telling the truth somehow, and also yeah. So maybe he wants to help her because he really thinks that she could be harmed somehow.
Yeah. It could be. I just remembered actually the previous scene to this scene between them was when Cal and Eddie went to the hotel room to try to get the $40,000 back, and that's when he found out. Then he went to the bar to go see her, and he's just like, yeah, would have helped if you told me about the $40,000, and she's like, I didn't think it was relevant, and I thought it would hurt my case with you, which duh, of course it did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that he's she's intrigued him again to finding out what the deal is with that, and so that's probably why he's agreed to help her again and contact her again, But then we go back to the compound and somebody's just like, "Oh, hey, man, there's some blonde staying up at your cabin," and he's like, "I haven't had a blonde up there since the '70s. I don't know what you're talking about." so
That was great.
so poor
That
Eddie is like,
man,
"Fuck!" and he's hot putting it up there, and then he's like, "You gotta get out of here!" And
yeah,
Ken and
as
Cal
if,
comes
they would
bursting through the
notice
door.
him running like a crazy person.
Yeah,
That
that
was
doesn't look
so fun.
suspicious at all, Eddie. You
No,
dumbass.
no,
No,
the funniest
there's no
thing
way Cal's
was
gonna
Cal
see you.
showing up, and he was like, they were like this. Okay, busted.
Benny Hill starts playing in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, it was it. I somehow expected Cal to be angrier,
oh, I did
but
too.
poor Cal. Yeah.
I was really impressed with how controlled Cal was. I did expect him to get a lot angrier about it. But I think that at that point, I think as soon as he saw, first of all, I know that Cal saw Eddie like lose his shit and fucking run. I mean, come on. Cal's a smart guy and very observant. And I think
He
as
was
soon
just like, I have to go.
hmm Yeah.
Woo.
Oh, I just remembered. I think I left the iron on. I gotta go, you guys. And then I think as soon as he saw him like skedaddle, Cal was like, "Oh, okay." So I think that's
Yeah.
probably why he wasn't so like angry when he got in the cabin. He's like, "I'll deal with you later, Eddie." And I
Yeah.
don't think that I honestly don't think he wanted to hurt Allison. I think he just wanted to talk to her because I think that um obviously I do know he's desperate to get that money back, but I also think that he does have compassion for her and just wants to try to take a more calm approach. But then she freaks out and she's like, "Murderer!" She runs
No,
at
but
him.
I think what would have happened with her would be the same thing that happened to Miranda Frank. Like somehow off the camera, we didn't see what happened between them, but yeah, he totally got into her head somehow. So yeah, he would have hurt her, but like mentally, I think. Because what happened to Miranda Frank, I think that the woman is, yeah, he totally screwed because she was, yeah, it was terrible to see her after Bill and Felicia came to look for her, and he was like, okay, there she is, and it was a totally new woman. She was before she was ready to tell the truth and to deny everything, and now
Yeah,
all of a sudden he's got into her head somehow, and yeah, that's the power Cal has over people, and probably Allison foresaw that, so she was like, she did the right thing. She was like, run, boom, away.
that scene with Cal and Eddie on the front lawn, it was just so, oh God. I mean,
In front of the house, you
yeah,
mean?
in
In
front of
front
the
of the,
house where they're wrestling
yeah,
around and everything. I was just
yeah. Yeah, Cal says to him like, "Can we have a real talk?" And yeah, that's when he tells him where when he tells him that he knows
Miranda.
about Miranda Frank and about everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he says that he doesn't need to screw up his marriage because he's already doing that. He's
Right.
already doing good by himself.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
which which is very interesting.
And
Why should yeah.
and he tells him he wants him to do Steve's walk, which is 250 miles a walk. And
In the
Eddie's
winter?
just like, it's the middle of winter. Nobody can do that walk in the middle of winter. And Cal is just like, you can't live among us if you don't have faith. Which
Hmm.
he's right. I mean, again, I'm defending Cal right to my grave here, but he can't live with his wife and his kids and try to be loving his wife and living in the compound and everything if he's having this crisis of faith. It's like he has to put up or shut up. He can't be trying to do this clandestine investigation and doubting everything and lying to his wife's face about how he feels. It's not right. It's not right for him. It's clearly tearing him apart, and he's got to do something about it. And so Cal, I feel like Cal is right, and I don't think that Cal's motivations for sending Eddie away are, I want to get rid of Eddie so I can fuck your wife. I don't think that's his motivation at all. I mean, I think that yes, he's angry at Eddie, obviously, for obvious reasons, but I mean, Eddie needs to face what's going on. Eddie needs to get this to face this, and he needs to explore him, search his soul. I feel like, and I know I sound like a Myrist right now, but I think Eddie needs to do this walk, and I think I
Yeah.
would encourage him to do this walk and really search himself because if he doesn't want to be a Myrist, then he needs to leave and let go of Sarah and
Yeah.
his family and move on.
Yeah, just like Cal says, if after 250 miles you don't find your faith again, just keep walking.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, it's really harsh, but
I mean,
probably it's for the best.
he can't live a lie. You can't fake belief. He has to make his choice, either his family or you know, his, I guess, integrity or his atheism or whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Yeah, I think
so
it's really hard. It will be really hard for him to find his way again because
yeah.
after such a great doubt, after this uh, period of his life in which he confronted the movement and everything, the right and the wrong, and the fact that he goes to his wife and asks her if they're good. If no, he says that to Allison, but he says to Sarah that if they hurt people. So yeah, probably
It'll be
it will be
interesting to
hard for
see
him.
what he
Yeah,
comes up with at the end of this walk if he really does make a discovery one way or the other. It just be obviously very interesting, and I think yeah, man, I can't wait to see what happens. It's I'm so frustrated that we only have 3 episodes left because I want infinity episodes immediately. Right?
yeah, but with Hawk on his side, I think that he will come back. But
Yeah. I think his family means too much to him. And I think that he's going to make an earnest effort to find his belief again.
yeah, probably.
I hope he does, but that's because I'm a Myrist.
Let, let's see what happens.
So yeah, so that was Eddie. How about Abe? We have Abe who
Taking
is,
off his t-shirt.
yeah, well, he's first of all, so he's in the FBI at his little whiteboard making his little notes, which are hilarious, where he's like,
Yeah,
dead? Question mark, question mark, question mark, and then he's looking at Cal's picture, kind of stroking it lovingly, which relatable.
yeah.
He's so dreamy.
This is all of us.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then his boss comes in and he's just like, I want you on this case 24/7, Gaines. And and he's just like, yeah. So it's going to be
yeah.
interesting to see because I don't know what his angle is. It's hard to tell what if is he really buying this or is he just investigating or what's his investment here?
Yeah, also with the fact that we mentioned yesterday with the micro expressions
Oh yeah.
on Dunbar's face, it's great. You never know what's if he's lying, if he's telling the truth. Obviously, with his wife, we're probably uh, led to believe that he's telling the truth, but then also he mentions the lights, so
Hmm.
it's
Yeah, when he
yeah,
talks about I looked into the light and he's saying that to his wife, he's not lying to her. And
yeah,
that's what
that's
makes you
creepy
wonder.
somehow.
Yeah, that's what makes you
Like,
wonder, is he
his
really?
wife's like, you're not using our daughter to get into with them and to get into the movement. Yeah. But also, yeah, like you said, he's an FBI agent, so probably he will go into the movements to, like we said yesterday, it's the best way to see it and to understand it. It's from the inside. So also the little scene he has with Nicole, I think it's totally necessary
Oh
to
yes.
show he formed some bonds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
was
totally
great.
necessary. More shirtless scenes for him, please.
Yes. Very good performance, Rockman Dunbar, taking your shirt off and then putting the other shirt back on, and poor Nicole, rest in peace. That poor
Yeah,
pregnant lady. He did that, and she was just like, ah.
her water broke
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
moment.
Like, clean up on aisle 4. Yeah, poor lady. I know. Yeah, that was great. That was a wonderful scene. Thank you, Jessica Goldberg, for all the shower scenes and the shirtless scenes, and we
Yeah,
had the extremely necessary shower scene with Cal, which again I
yeah.
predicted we would have that, and
It's never enough to see him. Yeah,
not just a
especially
shower
since
scene,
he.
but covered in blood, which bless our little Fannibal hearts made me so
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, and he smeared like blood all over his face, and we're like, it's not how you do it to wipe it off. Just stop doing that.
Let me get the blood off by rubbing it into my skin.
That's probably something he learned from Hannibal, like
Mhm.
a spatial mask, something like. Yeah,
Yes. Yes, that was just delightful. It was really delightful. But yeah, I love the fact that the show is being shot from the female gaze. It's very, very, very
yeah.
lovely to see. A delight. Yeah, but Rockman
So,
Dunbar is just doing an outstanding job, and his micro expressions are fascinating to watch. Just watching him
mhm,
interact with the other actors in the show, he makes it. You just kind of want to examine every scene that he's in very closely to try to get a read on what he's conveying, because he's conveying a very, very complicated character, like he's um, you're just trying to find out in each scene what is his motivation. Is he playing this as the FBI agent doing the investigation, or is he really buying
mhm,
this? And he's got a for
mhm,
sale sign in front of his house. He indicated in a conversation with his wife that they think that Hurricane Sandy and all of the pollution and debris in the air might be partially responsible for their daughter's illness. So they're trying to sell their house. And then he tells Nicole, I'm thinking of living the lifestyle, meaning I'm thinking of
mhm,
moving here into the compound. So
mhm.
is he going to bring his wife and baby there? I mean, because that's a pretty big move. And he might be
Yeah,
thinking of that because, again, they've talked about how that's where the garden is going to be. So the air is very clean. It's very obviously idyllic and pure, beautiful, so forth and so on, safe, physically safe. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see if he really does move in there. That would be an amazing opportunity for him to investigate from within. So,
yeah. And also the fact that he somehow got closer to the movement, also in the fact that maybe he started to see that it's not only, like the journalist said, something extremist, in seeing also Mary's story after her father asked him to investigate about his daughter, and then he found out the truth
mhm.
as to what had happened to her and what her father did to
That
her.
really affected him.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and he heard her speech, and after that we also see him like really somehow amazed at the fact that Cal had taken in the
Refugees.
immigrants,
Yeah.
the refugees. Yes, so yeah, probably he's seeing some good aspects in the movement. So he's probably also curious as a person, not only like
Yeah.
objective as the FBI agent, but also as a person. He's getting closer to the movement, I think.
Oh, definitely. I think he's starting to see between Eddie's not putting pressure on him, and Eddie's just being like a really good example, um, not overselling the place. And then seeing Mary's story and her turnaround, and then seeing Cal clearly helping people. and clearly not trying to be a money grabbing typical snake oil salesman, and just seeing all these good aspects, I think, of the movement is, I think, really making him realize that it's not as cut and dry as the FBI would like it to seem. It's not
Hmm.
as easy as they're trying. These are people that are really trying to do good in the world, and it's not just some kind of evil cult. You know,
Yeah,
these are
yeah,
these are real
definitely.
people. So definitely talk about Mary.
Yeah.
Poor little problematic Mary. So yeah, Mary. Mary's talking to Betsy outside because Mary's very sad that Cal has sent Sean away, and Betsy is just like, Sean's gonna do great. He's a really strong person, and he's gonna do great in Delaware. And if there's anything I can do for you, and they start getting romantic and sweet, and my heart was just like, oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
And then Mary does what the only thing Mary knows how to do, which is use her sexuality to try to get what she wants. And she unfortunately takes the buprenorphine from the, you know, from the hospital to get high.
Yeah, that's really sad. We see her doing that every time. Yeah, not every time, but we see her doing that after, of course, she has the heated discussion with Cal,
Right,
who never listens to her, who never gives her the opportunity to have a talk. Like she wants to talk to him, to confront him,
mm-hmm,
and he definitely, with no reason at all, sent or we still haven't figured out the reason as to why he sent Sean away, because he uh, probably wanted to be the alpha man in the situation, but then it doesn't have much sense because he tells Mary that he cares about her and nothing more, and they cannot be together in the way they have been.
right.
So yeah, that's really awful to her,
Yeah, I think
the
that
way he treats her.
it is. It's really sad. I think Cal was jealous, and that's why he sent Sean away. Um, but he never tells her why he did that. He can't admit that to her because of his emotional shortcomings and his inability to convey himself and make himself vulnerable to people. And so, yeah, it's very sad. And I kind of predicted that she was gonna lose her shit at Cal at some point, and I didn't think it would happen as soon as it did, but she did. Finally, I guess the drugs gave her the
Yeah,
impetus that she needed to do that, which I kind of was happy that she finally did because she really needed to confront him. I mean, I think that needed to happen. It's sad. It's unfortunate that it took place the way that it did, but it did need to happen. But it just hurts so much for her because she, again, very similar to Cal, just has no coping mechanisms to deal with negative emotions. And I think both of them would benefit greatly from some sort of therapy, like dialectical or cognitive behavioral therapy that would help give them some tools in their emotional toolbox to deal with strong emotions. Unfortunately, I
definitely.
don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, but poor
No.
Mary. So I really had wanted to see her and Betsy get together. I thought that would have been a very sweet relationship, but
Yeah.
sadly, I think
Also
that was.
because, yeah, you reminded earlier that Betsy was the first one to have had contact to Mary at, like, in the first episode when she handed her the bottle of water. So
Yeah,
yeah, she was the first to be there for her when she needed help. And
right.
yeah, and now Mary managed to turn that somehow, to turn it around, and also to take advantage of the feelings, of
Hmm.
Betsy's feelings, probably. And it's very sad to see also what happens to Mary at the end of the end. I mean, yeah, at
Yeah, the
the
end of the.
after yeah at the end of the episode, at the end of the scene, what
Yeah.
as with what happens to Betsy. is that yeah, she storms out of the compound. She wants to get away because she's had enough. She also told Sean that it's not her faith, that she doesn't believe in the way they do. So
Right.
she just came there because she needed the movement. She had no other place to go. And then we see her father who tells her that she's needed at home, which is again something that yeah, it's really horrible to to say to her. And yeah, she's really trapped between world she doesn't like and she doesn't belong in. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
we're
very
very
sad.
curious to see what will happen to her.
It will be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, she finally tries to leave and she immediately sees her father there and she knows, nope, a big old nope, I can't go back out there. I can't. She knows she can't. And yeah, she came to the Myers compound and she was a drug addict. She had nowhere to go, and they took her in. And I think that she thought that it was going to be one way, and then she realized it she can't get on board with the whole faith aspect of it, with the belief system. It's not something that she subscribes to. Uh, and I think, unfortunately, the experiences with Cal have not really helped her with that at all. And which
Yeah.
I don't blame Cal for that necessarily, because he doesn't have all the tools that he needs to be able to behave healthily. So, um, but
Well, no, but he has obviously he's just taken advantage of her,
yeah, well,
and yeah, that has been, I think that is one of the reasons why I could hate him
hmm
as a character.
hmm
If I didn't see the good things that he has done in the other episodes, I think
uh-huh.
it would be a good reason enough to be like, he's a bad person. He's a bad
If you
guy
weren't
doing
looking
this
at him
thing.
as a whole, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Um,
pretty horrible.
sure. Yeah, I guess I can understand that. Yeah.
I love just the fact that Emma Greenwell keeps getting these drag addict roles. Like
I know. Oh
I'm a
my
big
God.
fan of her
Yeah.
in Shameless.
I am a
So
huge fan of Emma Greenwell. I think she
yeah,
is so magnificent. She is one of my favorite actresses ever. And that's why I'm just praying she's in season two, because she needs to be. I don't think she's been in this show enough. I don't think she's had enough scenes, and I really want to
yeah.
see more of her.
And I was so jealous of her. Come on, all the scenes she has had with
I
Cal,
know, right?
like
Yeah, I know. She's had some
it's
awesome
crazy.
scenes with Cal.
Yeah,
I know that it's a lot of people are like problematic, but I love her scenes with Cal, and
yeah.
I really I know that they're complicated and everything and unhealthy, but I am enjoying her scenes with Cal quite a bit. And I really enjoyed watching her tell him off. I mean, I love Cal so much. Obviously, I'm the hugest Cal apologist, but I enjoyed watching her yell at him. That was fun. That was really fun. And I kind of felt like, yes, Mary, fucking tell him.
Finally, he deserved it so much. Yeah,
But
he
then I
just
felt so bad when she stormed out, and then he looked so sad trying to pick up that vase. I was just
he
like,
was
"Oh
like
baby, no."
he was like Will Graham confused. He was
Just
like
like,
this.
"Oh, yeah,
What happened?
exactly. Poor baby."
Yeah,
It's just like,
it
"What?
was so funny.
I don't
Him picking
understand
up
what just
the
happened."
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
That was so cute. Yeah,
First we have
right before we wrap things up, let's just talk about the music of the show, because talk about amazing use of music throughout the series so far, and we once again enjoyed some magnificent music choices in this episode. Personally, I grew up listening to Bob Dylan, and he's like a second father to me. So when I heard the opening strains of "It's Okay, Ma, I'm Only Bleeding," I was "It's All Right, Ma, I'm Only Bleeding." I was so thrilled. I was just so excited by that. Very good use of music. and it's such an applicable song for not just the series, but also just like today's times politically and everything. I would encourage everyone to just download it on iTunes and take a listen, because you could play this, could be a song put out today and it's current. I mean, it's just completely current. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, really, really amazing music choices. And you had some favorites too, you were talking about.
I had my favorite episode so far was episode 5, when at the end we have the whole 3 minutes and something of a song by David Bowie playing "Wild is the Wind," and I was like, when it started playing, I was like, I couldn't believe it, because yeah, it had happened like I think a month ago or a few
It
weeks
was like
ago
a
after
couple
his
of weeks
death.
before, it was a week
So
or two before that episode aired that he passed.
yeah, so yeah, it was a great somehow tribute
Yes.
to him. And it was the fact, I love the fact that in many shows we get to see and to hear amazing music, but we don't have the whole song played. So the fact that they took the time to play the whole song was just amazing. Yeah. We also saw, yeah, other songs.
Bella
Uh,
Figura, I Want to Be a Better
yeah.
Man, which was just a gorgeous song that they played. I believe it was when that was when at the end of the episode, wasn't it, with Hawk and Ashley, when
Mm-hmm.
they were in the park, and that was just a really beautiful song. And I think it was also Abe Gaines was looking over his
With her
daughter's
dog.
bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, want to be a
Mm-hmm.
better
Mm-hmm.
man, and that was just beautiful. Yeah, they've used
Yeah.
continually amazing musical choices in the series.
Also, at the end of episode 7, there's I haven't looked up the artist, but the
Hmm.
song is "We're Going Back Where We Began." So
Yeah,
when obviously when Cal takes the bottle, and so yeah, it's the
yeah,
whole circle thing of his character, his development, and
yep.
also the fact that Blue Velvet was playing when when
Yes, one of
Allison
my
and
favorite songs, Blue Velvet, yeah, was playing in the background when Eddie is in the bar with Allison, and that was just
yeah.
phenomenal. I know, I was so excited to hear that.
That
Yeah,
was that
just
was a little bit out of place,
yeah, it
but
was.
somehow they it was great. Yeah,
Hmm.
they managed to.
Yeah, whoever's doing the musical choices has really good taste in music, so amazing.
Yeah, and we
So
love also the fact that Hawk says to Ashley that they listen only to music from like from the 70s, because it's like the peaceful music. So yeah,
I
just
have a music request if anyone's listening to this. I made intentions of making a crack video, which I'm probably still gonna do, a music video for the Path, um, to the song Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum, which is one of my all-time favorite songs, classic. And I feel like that
okay.
song would be perfect for this show. So if anyone's listening that's associated with the show, maybe season 2, man, break that song out, because that song is perfect for this show, I feel.
What will be the crack video? What will be the
Oh,
crack
well,
video?
my crack video idea, I don't want to reveal because
Oh,
it's really good. But it's kind of a sexy
yeah,
cow
just in
video.
Cal showering and doing pull-ups.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because that song is so, it's very sexy, but I love that song so much. But anyway, yeah. So when I do make it, I'll definitely post it on the Pathifist podcast channel.
Yeah.
So
We're very interested to see that.
I'm sure I have a lot of material to work with now. Thank you, Jessica Goldberg. You are doing God's work, and
Yes.
I love you.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to just say we are so excited that we have been renewed for. I'm saying we. I'm so invested in the show.
We,
I'm like just jumping
yes.
on the bandwagon. We're renewed for season 2, and not only do we get season 2, we get 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So we're getting 10 episodes in this season, 13 next season. So I am so excited.
Me too. There's just so much to say, and They just cannot convey enough. In I think they're doing a great job in saying as much as they do in the 40 minutes they have.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely we need to see more of that.
I
Yeah.
have become full scale obsessed with this show and with the mythos and the everything that accompanies it. So I'm a 100% Myris believer. I mean,
You
I'm
should
not.
show your necklace.
Yes. Oh, so yeah. Since we don't have really much any, I should not say much. I should say any merchandise yet from the path. Have been searching high and low for a Myra's eye necklace like Cal wears and like they
That's
all wear.
great.
I found this one, which is an all-seeing eye necklace. I'll post a picture of it, but it's not round. It's supposed to be perfectly round, and this is really more of an oval, but the design inside is really close to the Meyer
Yeah.
eye.
Yeah. That's great.
So yeah, so I was very excited to find it, and as soon as I saw it, I had to get it. So yeah, I think that they're slowly but surely going to start adding merchandise, hopefully.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
So I don't have to wear Breaking Bad
yeah,
T-shirts of Aaron
pull
Paul. I
sit
hope that
back
I
a
will
little bit,
have.
sit back a little bit so we can see that whole shirt, because
Yeah. I hope.
that's
I
that's
hope
the
that
it says bitch at the bottom. Yeah,
as bitch.
that's the shirt that he needs to wear when he's talking to Cal.
No, I hope that I won't have to buy any Breaking Bad merchandising anymore. So we're going to get some more uh, original merchandising from the past. Yeah, definitely. We need the shirts in the original color. Yeah, we
In
said that.
the yes, in the specific
Blue.
Meyerist blue, which we were talking
Yeah.
about, the specific Meyerist blue. Yes, it's not baby blue, it's not light blue, it's like this type of heather blue that's like a denim color. We're
Mhm.
really paying attention to details here, folks. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Definitely the details. If you need designers or anything like that, please contact us because yeah, we are paying way too much attention to all of these things. So,
That's true.
but yeah, so we're very excited for next week's episode, episode 8. Uh, it can't come soon enough. It really can't. Every week
Yeah.
it's just like, is it up yet? Is it up yet? So yeah. Any last thoughts? Are you?
I know I've said pretty much everything. I want to thank you for having me,
I
and yeah,
know.
and also say hi to all the followers, if I may, on my Fancy Dancy Twitter page. And I want to say hi also to Alessia, who is the one who did the Fancy Dancy Facebook page a few years ago. So yeah, so she put me in charge of the Twitter page, and yeah, it's been great since. And
Awesome.
also thank you for having me. And I
Thank you
want to
so
say
much
hi
for
to
joining.
Jenny, who wasn't
Yes,
here today.
Jenny couldn't be with us today, but she's gonna be doing our episode 8. So yeah, totally just so happy to have you here. I've been looking forward to this. Hopefully you can join us again for another future podcast. And yeah, definitely enjoyed our time together. So thank you so much, and thank you everyone for listening and watching and supporting and sharing. And we will see you for
Yeah,
episode 8.
go towards the light.
Live in the light, never stray. The eye is always watching. Bye.
Bye.